Hi, I'm Tara, the Wine Passionista, and this time I have a video for you from Champagne. My very good friends at Bibendum recently took a few of us to visit Bruno Paillard. We had an amazing trip. Bruno is a fantastic character, as you'll see, and we had the absolute good fortune to dine in his home and have a 9-course lunch cooked by none other than Joel Robuchon. It was quite an experience, and you'll see some photographs in the video. But Bruno starts off by explaining to us the relationship he has with the growers that he uses in Champagne. It's very important to have great relationships and long-standing relationships with those growers so that he can find the best quality grapes each year to make his non-vintage house-style champagne. But as Bruno likes to say, it's not non-vintage, it's multi-vintage, because it does take many, many years of reserve wines that go into making those multi-vintage wines. And he also explains to us why he puts the disgorgement date on the back label of every bottle of champagne. It's not something that many champagne houses do, but it's a really interesting tidbit of information, and it just goes to show how well a bottle of champagne can evolve after it has been disgorged. So I hope you enjoy this little look into a visit with Bruno Paillard Champagne, and the next time you see a bottle on the shelf, perhaps you'll give it a try.
This room here is the what we call the cuverie. Cuverie comes from the French word cuve, which is a word for tank. And so in each champagne house you have a room like that where you receive the must from the grapes that have been crushed in the villages all around Champagne. So we have here grapes from 32 villages, 13 of which are from our own vineyard, and the other being from constructed grapes from people that I have selected in the early days of Maison Bruno Paillard and who are still working with us. There is even one case where we are to the third generation of purchasing the grapes from the same family. So we have a very loyal following from our growers because one, they know, all of them know me personally, and the personal contact is very important in this part of our job. And the second point, I would say they are quite proud to work for Maison Bruno Paillard because they have the reputation of quality of the Maison. Year in, year out, every year we have a problem in one village, never the same, not necessarily the same, but it can be hail, it can be a disease, particularly violent disease, and this is one of the particularities of Champagne, that our weather is very inconsistent from year A to year B. We have tremendous variations, as well as in the maturity, as in the health situation of the grapes. As we say, 90% of the wines are multi-vintage. That is to say, they require reserve wines to obtain a continuity of style and of quality year in, year out. And this has to be done by people, by persons. And the importance of having a large palette of villages is crucial to produce, to deliver constant quality through the times. So here at Maison BP, the main key of the composition is, point one, we use only the first pressing. Point two, we have a wide palette to make sure that our grape blend can be matched, whatever happens in one village or two villages or even three villages. And point three, we have huge reserves of reserve wines, which we keep under the Solera system, i.e. the previous year's blend, itself containing some reserve wines, themselves being the -2-year blend, itself containing reserve wine being the -3, etc. And it goes back like that to 85. When you disgorge the wine, you take this bottle, which is alive. It's full of life. You take this bottle full of life. You open the bottle. You eliminate something. You cut something in. Really, that is a sediment. You separate it from the wine. Then you refill with something, and then you close the bottle. It's like an operation. It's like a surgery. You see, so the wine is going to need a recovery time. It's going to be the rest time after that. In French, the word we use is convalescence. I don't know the word in English. It's same word, exactly. So the wine needs a convalescence. So to recover its to recover its balance. So what's going to happen after degorgement? During the first period, say the first 2 or 3 years, like this now, the wine is, I think you will agree with me, the wine is very fruit dominated. You can see when you smell or you taste the wine, you can see that there is a potential that's far beyond fruit. But we do not yet have, for instance, gingerbread or spices or toastiness. You can trace a potential for such aromas is there, but it's not obvious. What is the most obvious? I think unless you disagree, then tell me. But I think what is quite obvious is that at that stage the wine is very fruit dominated. The words we would use to describe this wine is more around fruits. We agree with that? So, if we take the same wine in 3 years or 4 years, you will find that the fruit aromas are much more melted, and in fact, the main aromas will be flowery. A lot of flower aromas. Less directly related to the fruits. If you take the same wine, another 3-4 years after, you will find it becomes spicy. It's another life that starts. So there is still fruits, there is still flowers, but there is an added value which is spices. If you take another 3-4 years, you will start with toastiness, toasted bread. If you take another few years, you will have gingerbread, honey. If you take another more years, you will have a kind of roasted, almost torrefaction, coffee, chocolate. And we are talking of the same wine. It's just going to have its evolution, and this evolution is a fantastic evolution. It's a fantastic promenade. The only thing is that for approximately 90% of the champagne on the market, it's impossible for the consumer to understand this because there is not the date of degorgement available. And this is the reason why I decided to put the date of degorgement. And it's, as you can see, it's in full letters. It's not in a coded.